are going to cover is the business rule. So far we've been talking about various platform components, right? So business rules are server side scripting components. So we learned about what are all the various scripts that we have. So far we learned about UI policies, right? Where do the UI policies works? On client side, right? Agree? Haman, is that right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Client scripts on the client side again. Okay. And UI actions, we spoke about UI actions both on the client side as well as server side. Okay. If you want to make UI actions to work on client side, we need to make that option is client side on the UI action. And then we spoke about data policies. Where do data policies work?
Server
On
side.
server side. And ACLs we spoke about the access controls. Access controls do work on the server side, because if you have applied an access control, whether you work from the client side or import side or an integration, everywhere that restriction, whatever you have placed on security restriction, that will be aligned. So they will be on the server side components. So today we will be talking about business rules. Okay. Business rules are server side components again. So business rule will help you to automate any business process on the server side. Okay. Now let me talk about one requirement. Okay. And we will see whether existing components would be able to do that job or not. You will come to know that, why do we need to use business rule? And then, we'll talk about what are the different types of business rules. So we know in which condition, which business will need to be used. So my requirement is, let us say, okay, we've been talking about uh, various elements. Okay, so let us say we are saying when the state is equal to, okay, for example, I have a requirement here. Let me talk about one real-time requirement, and then we will see. So I have talked about problem yesterday, right? Now we have a problem management. We spoke about problem management, right? So on the problem management, we have associated some of the incidents. Now, if you look into the latest problem number that we spoke about, okay, get that problem. Okay, let's say this problem. Now, if you open up this problem, we have added some incidents, we related some of the incidents to this problem record. Now, problem, what happens is the problem goes through the life cycle. Okay, so my customer has asked me, okay, you have associated an incident. This is the incident. Okay, 10025 incident. Okay, so my customer said, whenever you are changing through the statuses from new to assessment and assessment to the root cause, fix to resolve, it will be progressing like this. So every time you do, your work log will be updated here. Okay, you current updated work log. You are working on the problem, but there is a person who is working on the incident on the other side. Okay. Now, whenever you are making any change on the problem, let us say whenever you are making any update on the work log, and your customer is saying, hey guys, you are working on the problem fine, but we do not have, we do not know what is happening with that problem. Can you also pass on that work log comments to the underlying incident as well? Or else when the problem is resolved, okay, let us assume that the problem is resolved. Okay, if the problem is resolved, then we also need to make sure the subsequent incident is also automatically resolved. Okay, so if the problem is active, we want to make sure the associated incident is also active. So predominantly what we are trying to do is there is action happening on some other table. On the basis of it, we are trying to update some other table. Or else the scenario could be whenever we are trying to update some value here, let us say you are integrating your ServiceNow solution with other customer, then you also want to update the incident on the other third party service bus system. Maybe you want to invoke an integration. Okay. Now let us say you are saying now I'm changing it to in progress, for example. Now let's say saving this to in progress and go back to on hold. Okay. And await customer. Now save this. Okay. You said like now you have included this particular condition as on hold is equal to some on hold condition. Now you are resolving it. Okay, now you are resolving this case. When you are resolving, you are saying like, this resolution mandatory and all this blah, blah. You are just making it, mandatory only from the client side. Okay, you are making this particular values are only mandatory from the client side. Okay, when it is resolved and you are making it, these fields are mandatory using your UI policies. But these fields can be updated from the backend also. To avoid this, like, you have used data policies in the past to ensure this condition. Like we talked about data policies. Similarly, now whenever I'm resolving this, okay, now for example, I have resolved it. Okay, similarly, like I'm changing this particular value to there is an individual. I get it, like no individual. Okay, so now I'm saying it. Okay, we need to have a role for these individuals. Let me add those roles so that we'll get it. We need problem coordinator and problem administrator role so that you will be getting those values here. These are the group members. Add those roles, problem roles, so that we have group members, but those members are not coming because they do not have those roles. Okay. Let me add those roles. I have added it. Okay. So now I'm assessing it. As I speak, so now the problem has been progressed from new to assess. I want to pass on this update into this particular workflow. Okay. And I want to make sure this particular incident is also having that work log is captured in this note section. Do you have any such thing right now? It's not like right now you have that update only available here in this work log. Okay, so I'm trying to pass on additional comments, additional work notes. Okay, and I'm saying when I'm passing on additional work notes, are those work notes are coming into this incident table? Okay, actually not now, but you have relationship with your problem record and this problem record. Remember always what will be saved in this reference field? In the reference field, it will be SysID, right? Always. Yes, sir. The SysID of this particular record will be saved. Remember, you have relationship with this problem, the problem field and then this record, but the data is not being passed on to it. Now, this scenario, okay, this scenario would you be able to achieve with UI policy? With UI policy, you can make field mandatory, optional, read only, read write, and visible, invisible, right? With the client script, you will be able to achieve on the current screen. You can make anything on the current screen, but you cannot do anything on the back end. Okay, and UI actions would not help you to do that. UI actions will be predominantly like buttons and all blah blah. Okay, when you click on button only, then that will happen. Now the data policies, okay, again they are conditional based but available predominantly for making field read only, read write, but not passing these comments onto other workloads and then update it. Okay, ACLs are talking more from the security standpoint. So what will help ACL? Like, the ACLs can make a field read only if you wish. Okay, if you want to restrict access to a particular field, you can make a field, read write. Okay, you have a write ACL, you can restrict like, field read only. And then if you use read ACL, then you can make field invisible, and you can restrict the table level access, row level access. But you cannot pass on the updates using business, ACLs also. So this is where the business rules will help you. So business rules are server side components. The business rules, how the business rules looks like, come down. Okay, go to system definition and type business rules. Okay, so business rules will be, as I said, server side piece of a script, and this business rules will work being this is on the server. Whenever there is a record inserted, whenever there is a record updated or record queried or record deleted, in such scenarios, the business rule will work. So we call them insert business rule, okay, update business rule, or query business rule, or delete business rule. So it's taking time to open. Okay, and also these are the 4 conditions: insert, okay, update, query, and delete. So these are 4. Ideally, like, this is what we spoke about in the ACL also. CRUD, create, okay, read, update, and delete. Okay, this is a CRUD. Okay, so create, read, update, and delete. Okay, so these are the operations that predominantly can happen on the database side. Okay, and again, you have full control whether you want to execute a piece of script before this action, or after completing this action, or while this is happening at this point in time. We called async. Okay, so there is a asynchronous call, which means, like, this will not be putting a pressure on the ServiceNow system. Either you are not going to compile before and after, but whenever there is a free time available on the server side during the execution, it will be executed during the async. We call them async business rule. Let's talk about a scenario. For example, let us say I have a scenario. Okay, you're creating, when new employee onboarded, initially they will be, created in the Workday, okay, or HR systems, right? So once the new employee created on the HR system, let's assume that you have an integration to create in the ServiceNow system. Okay, from here you are creating your record into the ServiceNow system, maybe using your LDAP integration. Okay, you have LDAP integration. Okay, you can configure this. Using that, you are creating a record into ServiceNow. After record created ServiceNow, you are trying to integrate, you are trying to create a record into Active Directory. From ServiceNow, you are invoking orchestration workflow. Okay, and then you are creating record into Active Directory. In this case, is anybody experiencing this entire integration flow? This is all happening on the server side. Nobody is experiencing it. So you don't have to say that as soon as it is created, immediately you need to create, like, either say before and after. You don't have to compel. You can leave the system to decide, okay, to execute an asynchronous call. When you say asynchronous call, please remember that, like, this will not be taking more than milliseconds. It will be matter of milliseconds. But remember, like, if we are having some 10,000 records are imported, or maybe some 1 lakh records are getting imported, in that scenario, even these milliseconds will be combined and come down to minutes. So that is why, particularly if you are doing any integration at that point in time, we are trying to make a call, it is always advisable to make a asynchronous business rule. Okay, so now come to your business rule. Okay, this is how your business rule looks like. Okay, so in our scenario, let's go by this scenario. We spoke about it. Okay, all the work log comments, work logs that are updated on problem record should be passed on to related incident. Okay, related incident. If there is any relation, then it should be passing on. That is my requirement. Now, where my trigger should happen? Where is my trigger? all work logs that are updated on the problem record, right? So where should I trigger this script? When should I trigger this script? And what should I achieve? Where should I trigger this script?
Problem.
On the problem
Problem.
table, right? So that's what you have to select. Okay. Synchronize work nodes. So that is my business rule name. You want to trigger this particular server side script on the problem table because you are updating the work log on the problem table. Okay, you selected problem. Now coming to the next layer, when this is the place where you will be saying what kind of business rule. Do you want to execute this business rule during the insert, update, query, or delete? At what time you want to execute this one? You have insert and update are available. If you open advanced, and you will be able to see the other business rule also. Okay. Now my scenario is at the time of problem creation also I want to pass on my updates. Okay. At the time of problem creation, I want to pass on updates if there is any incident is associated. Okay. If there is any incident associated, also whenever making subsequent changes, they are treated as an update. Only the initial creation is an insert. Thereafter, if you are making any changes, they will be treated as update operation, right? So I want to execute this business rule both on insert and update. And the next, when do you want to send these details? So the next requirement is, okay, on the when condition you are said it will be both on insert and update. In both the scenarios, you want to do that. You have further adjustment. Do you want to send the record, the workload nodes to the backend table before insert, before update, or after insert, after update, or asynchronous? This is what I spoke. Okay, asynchronous call. You know, so the system will not update it before and after. It will take, if the system is free, and as soon as you come down to the business rule, immediately this will be updated on this particular table. Okay, so this asynchronous call is like, remember asynchronous business rule. This is an interview question. What is async business rule? Async business rule will not be executed either before and after. So they will be making, they will be executed asynchronously whenever the system will check for the free time. If it is busy in executing other business rule, it will take a pause and then it will be executed in the free time. But it will not be too different. Remember, like, for before, the difference between before business rule and async business rule will not be too far. It will be a matter of milliseconds only. Okay. And there is other one, display business rule. If I'm saying display business rule, this business rule will help you to execute an action. For example, let us say I have problem. I'm clicking on this 4001. Now what's happening? The system is going down to the problem table and displaying the data. Okay, now what happened here when I'm clicking on this 01, the system is loading the data. Okay, first it is loading, opening up the table, and then it is loading 7601 from the database. When the data is being displaying, at that point in time, what ServiceNow do is you can load some server side information and keep it in under a temporary variable called g_scratchpad. Remember this. Okay, so the feature called, this is for display business. If it is a display business rule, okay, for a display business rule, the variables, there is a variable called g_scratchpad. So you will be able to execute some content, and then based on that, you will be passing on the server side information to the client side and make some operations. If there is no g_scratchpad, how you can pull it out? We will be learning in this particular topic called the topic is scripting tools. So scripting tools, again, like, going to put pressure on the ServiceNow system. So this is the best practice to do that. So you will use this based on the scenario. Okay, remember this being this as an interview question. Okay, now go back to your business rule. So in our current scenario, we are going to execute after business rule, because I want to have the update on this particular scenario is completed. Only then, I'll be passing on the details to the subsequent incident, because during the update, if there is any error, we will not be passing on these details. So the best practice is, let's have the transaction completed, make it after, then you do this. So what next? Okay, you said insert and update, and then you are making it as an after insert, after update. That's good. And what do you want to achieve with this? Actions. On the current screen, if you want to set some values, for example, let us say, okay, when there is an incident, you want to make, okay, some values to be copied onto some table, okay, or else like you want to set some values to some fields, you can use this particular one, okay. So now you want to run a script, you can go down to the advanced. Okay, so using this advanced feature, you will be able to add some script here. Okay, so this is where like we will be using the glide system scripting for a simple requirement. For example, let us say I want to write some simple requirement, and then we will extend it to the actual requirement that we are talking about here. Okay, let me pick up some small scenario. Let us say, okay, if at the time of when you want to go to assessment, okay, let us say when you want to go to assessment, this is the problem record. Okay, when you want to go to assessment, okay, what we are trying to make sure currently is assigned to is a mandate. Okay, so now when I'm making these particular values to assessment, or else like when I'm progressing to assessment, I want to update the workload comment, okay, stating that we've been successfully progressed to assessment. Okay, so I want to pass on some basic condition. Okay, let's go back to the business rule. Okay, I'm on the problem record. I will say that when the state changes to, when the problem state changes to assessment, I want to pass on some values. Okay, workloads. Okay, workloads list. Field called workloads. There is a field that should be coming. Okay, that is not coming up here. Okay, let's just do one thing. Okay, let me pick up. Okay, let's pick up some other small scenario. This actual workloads is not coming in there. Let us assume, okay, if the category is a software, when I'm saving this particular record, when I'm updating this particular record, okay, for some means, like, I'm either updating description or making any field changes. So immediately, if the service is null, and if I'm updating it, then I want to set the service to so and so value if category is equal to software. That is my simple requirement. Okay, now what I want to do is, if this is an update or an insert, if the category is equal to software, okay, if the category is equal to software, I want to update service field to so and so thing. Okay, I want to update service field to SAP Enterprises. This is what I want to update on this particular one. Okay, now save this particular record and go to your problem record. Now reload it. Okay, reload it. Now I'm going to update this particular record. Test update. Okay, I have updated it successfully. Okay, now what happened is just go to there is a difference between before and after. Can you see this? This value is updated automatically. Okay, I have asked the system if the software is category, and then I'm making changes to the service value. Okay, I'm making the value to the service value. But, tomorrow maybe there may be a slightly different requirement. Okay, so if the category is software and if the service is null, if the service is empty, okay, let's not allow the system to update it. Okay, give an error. Okay, send a message stating that you have selected software as category and service is empty. Hence, you are not allowed to submit this record. Okay, and I want to give this error message and then also abort this action. I don't want to allow the system to save the record. So I'm just like, aborting it. Remember this piece of work, okay, without having this value, you can do this validation on the client side also. On submit client script you can write, and then you can get the current status is equal to category is equal to software, and then you can check if the service is empty and you can throw an error. But what happens if you are updating it from the server side? You do not have a control. You want to control from all the directions, then you will also you have to depend on business rule. If you want to put a rule that should work from all the perspective on the list view and on the on when you are importing the data or when you are integrating the data or when you are directly doing the level farm level updates, you want to give an error, then you will have to do that. Okay, maybe you can say that I can do this even from the data policies, but data policies, do we have a feature to give a meaningful message there? Not really. So that is where now your business rule will help you to restrict and then avoid a saving and also give a meaningful error. Now let's test it. Okay, now go to category is equal to software. I have set the software earlier, like I set the value, but now I'm not going to set the value, but rather what I will do is I would prefer to give an error and then abort the action. Okay, so let's say what happened. So you said you have selected software as a category and service is empty. Hence you are not allowed to submit, and then it's sending an error and not allowing me to save the record. Okay, the system is not allowing me to save the record. The system did not allow me to save the record and just skip the save with an error. Okay, now let's just test one more time. Okay, invalid update and system will not allow you to save the record. So this is how you can use this low code, no code platform capabilities within the ServiceNow to the maximum extent. But there are scenarios, some of them will not be achieved. So then that's where you will be going into scripting. Okay, now in our current scenario, if the work nodes is changing, okay, if the work nodes changes, immediately I want to pass on those values on to the backend incident. That is my actual requirement. I want to pass on that value to the backend requirement. How can I do that? This piece I cannot achieve with any of this existing stuff. So this is where I will be doing my business rule, and then business rule, I selected problem, and then I'm saying like, you know, before and after insert. And then in the execution part, I will be writing a small piece of script that will help me like, you know, to synchronize work notes between problem and insert. So please, you know, just understand this small piece of code. How can I do that? Right now, I want to put some simple steps. Okay, just logical algorithm. Right now, where I'm doing my updates, I'm doing on the problem table, right? Heman, where exactly
Yes.
we are doing this stuff on the problem table. What is
Problem.
the problem sys ID? This is the sys ID, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now the problem sys ID is like, first we need to make sure we need to capture those values just for your learning. Now let me do this way. Now problem sys ID is okay, current table sys ID. Okay, and that is okay. Now where this problem sys ID is stored. Now this problem record is related with this particular one, right? Now the problem is related with this 10025. If you go to this 10025, this is the record. And this is the record. In this 10025, where is that problem information structured? This is stored in this particular field, right?
Yes.
Agree? And this is stored on incident table, and the table, this is stored on incident table. Problem information is stored in incident table and in the field problem. Okay, let's check if the field name is problem or not. Okay, this is a problem underscore ID. Okay, problem underscore in the field problem underscore ID. This sys ID is stored on this particular ID. Agree? Okay, though you are seeing is a number, but what is it actually resided? This is the sys ID which is residing here, right? Agree?
Yes, yes, sir.
Though you did, because this is a
Yes, sir.
reference field. The reference field will show you the value, but the actual value that is residing here is sys ID. So now what I need to do, I need to jump onto this incident table with my current sys ID and then update my work notes. This is what I should be doing. Agree technically? From here,
Yes.
I'm on the 4001. From here, I need to take my current sys ID and then go down to this table, whatever the table that is associated, and then check for this particular problem ID field in there. And if my sys ID exists in that one, select that record and update my notes. Right? That's what I should do logically. Chaitanya, agree?
Yes, sir.
Right. So let's do what I'm on the problem table. I want to update the incident. So first thing I need to query that particular incident table, right? So variable incident table. Let's first I'm querying that incident table. Okay. Variable incident is equal to new glide record. Okay. When I'm saying new glide record, what it does is it will be querying that particular table that I'm going to give. I'm going to say that, hey guys, you go and query this particular table. Okay. Check for this particular table. I'm saying like, query this particular table. Again, when I'm saying you said query, but what should I be querying? I should be querying for this problem ID with this sys ID, correct? Now I'm saying add this additional condition to the query. Okay, you are doing the query fine, but what you should be doing is you should be checking for this particular problem ID with your current.sys ID. Okay, current dot sysID. So your current screen sysID should be queried into problem table. I'm making dynamic here. This is all static. I'm making to dynamic. First step, go to the incident table and verify the information what I said. Now, second thing what I'm saying, go to the incident table where the problem ID is equal to my current sysID. Okay, whatever is my current sysID, use that and go into the table and check for that information. Okay, so this is what I said. Now complete the query. Okay, done. My job is done. So I'm completing the query. So you have queried and kept that information logically. Okay, you haven't done anything. Now my next step is, yeah, you have those tables. So for example, let us say it is resulted into 10 tables. Okay, so 10 records. Then while incident query has some value. Okay, incident query has some value, which means this syntax means if the incident query, this is the query, has some value, then simple. Okay, pass on my whatever the incident record updates work nodes is equal to current work nodes. Okay, just pass on my current table work nodes into backend incident table work nodes. That's it. Simple. Over. And update my update that particular record. That's it. Simple. Let's test it. Very simple. I'll explain it one more time. So now I completed that small piece of script. I just queried, I made a glide query into the table and I checked for that problem ID and then completed the query and passed on my current work nodes into the incident work nodes. Let's see, test it. This 4001. Okay, so testing work nodes flow. I just updated my current record. So the system should use this particular value to jump onto this incident and then it should update it. Come down to the incident table. It went in, right? It is passed on. Test it one more time. Second time, test. Coming down or not? Chaitanya?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Hemant, is this clear?
Yes.
Rani?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is clear for me.
Okay. Are you good with this particular small piece of script? Any questions on this?
No, sir. It is clear for me.
Okay. Subara?
Yes, clear.
Hemant, you good?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Chaitanya, let's not worry about it. Let me know if you're clear or not. I will take another, one more time and explain this.
Only this coding part I didn't know, sir.
Okay, no, this is not, please do not call it as a coding. It's a simple,
Okay.
okay, this is a simple, steps to execute some values to pass on between the tables. Okay,
Okay.
now, okay, remember one more time, like, let's not blank your mind thinking that it's a big code. Okay,
Okay.
so this step, did you understood what we have done?
Yes,
Let me go
sir.
per step. And this step, I queried with a current sysID on the problem table. This field is available in this table. You saw that, right?
Yes.
This field is available in this table. Okay. On the incident table with this problem ID table, I'm querying. Okay. So
Okay.
second step is clear.
Yes, sir.
And completing the query.
Okay.
Okay. So till here, like I just completed. What happens here? If you want to test, you can simply write gs dot add info message. If you say, okay, So how many number of records resulted is equal to okay plus G incident dot get row count. If I'm saying this, it will give me the number of rows resulted into this particular one for my testing purpose. For your awareness, I'm doing it. Okay.
Okay.
Now let's come down to the problem record. Testing. Okay. Count. I'm just saying like testing count. It is saved successfully. Now I'm saving. The system will give me. See, it is saying number of records resulted 1.
1.
The code has come until this place. Okay, you good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the query completed and it is saying like only 2 records. Let us say tomorrow you have added some 10 records. Okay,
Okay.
let's assume that you add some 10 records. Okay, add. I'm going to add. Okay, let's add all the records. Okay. I added 67 records, assuming that. Okay, when I'm adding, in fact, even here also something. Now there are 67 records, right? Now let's send some update. Okay, now save it. Now how many records we have?
67.
So actually 21 records only added. Okay, I think when we selected, only 21 records are added. So 21 has come up or not? Is this clear?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Now what will system do in the next step? In the next step, it will go into each and every single record with this command. It will go into each and every single record and then update that particular record with the current dot workloads. This is the current table, right?
Yes.
Okay, see you have a current function here. You can use this current function and using that you can get the current record value. Okay, current record value. So in this one, you are passing that value into work nodes. Where is that work nodes? This is the work nodes, right? This is the field work nodes field. You are passing that value, this problem work nodes into, this is the current dot work nodes into that glide record incident work nodes. You are doing that. Okay, in this particular function. And then you are saying that like, yeah, I passed on that value and you update it.
Okay.
And if you want to test it, you can say that you can see how many times this particular while loop will execute it. Okay, gs dot again add info message. Okay, and I'll say incident message. It should be in single quotes. Incident is okay. Incident is successfully updated. I'm saying this. Okay, and then also I'm saying incident dot number. Okay, this is the number field, right?
Yes.
I'm just saying like I'm giving a message so that you will understand how many times this actually have executed. So according to our condition here, there are 25 records. So it should go into loop for 25 times. Okay, and then every single time it should be updating that record. Now go to that testing while loop. Okay, whether my request has gone into the while loop or not, we will test it now. Now test it. You will see that 25 times it is executed. First thing, it checked for the number of records. There is a message that we kept, and then every time it went into now 35, 36, 38, 39. So it went into every record and updated it.
Yes. Okay.
Is this clear now?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
This simple piece of script. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm copying it here. Okay, I'm copying it here and then practice it in your lab session. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Simple script for your awareness. Let's not, when we say that like, this is a not a coding. Please do not call it as a coding. It's a small piece of logic that you have to build sometimes. Okay.
Oh.
There's nothing like a code in here. Okay, but only thing you need to remember, once you are done with your work, you need to make sure you should not have these particular messages should be available, because this is going to be irritating for end users. My job is done, my testing is done, so I will comment this like this. I'll just add comments so that, okay, I will be done. Next time when I'm testing, I will not be seeing those irritating messages. Okay, so end
Oh.
users would not like to have this kind of unwanted messages anytime. So you need to make sure they are, commented as soon as you are done with your work.
Okay, sir.
Now you understood how to write a server-side script, small scripts.
Yes, sir.
Any questions on the business rule?
No, sir.
What understood this concept, right? Insert, update, delete, and query business rules. You have to
Ye-
practice. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And before, after async and display.
Nothing
Before-
questions.
Okay, no questions. And then you have to apply these conditions, you know it. Okay. So, and one more important thing from the debugging point, for example, let us say today I have done some mistake. And I want to compare my, compare my scripts. For example, this is where something I have done. I want to compare these two things. Okay. So I can use this, logics. Okay, I can open this particular script component like this, and then I can compare it with my current code. Okay, so this will tell me that what changes I have done, because this is a debugging feature will help you to debug it. For example, let us say you have done some mistake and you don't know what mistake you have done, some mistake or some change you have done. You can come down and then see the difference between the two scripts. Okay, the previous script and then the current script. You can always verify those differences. Okay, come down script. Okay, and if you look into that, okay, here I have from the previous one, there is no code. Now I have added a code. That is the difference between my this version, the selected version to the current version. For example, if I go back to the business rule, this is your current one, right? And this is your previous one. So on the previous one, I have not included any comments. In the current one, I have included comments and then deleted it. So compare with current one. Scroll down and go to the script part and then verify. These are the changes here. Earlier I was not have commented, but this time I commented. Okay, and if you wish that need to be reverted for some reason, and then you can use this revert to the selected version, you can do that. Okay, revert to this version, you can do that. These are all things will come up while you are working on it as part of your experience. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Any additional questions on this? Business rules, are we good? Team? Heman, Subbarao, Rani?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We're
Not
good.
from mine.